Hello and welcome to the YouTube advertising training. In this video, you're going to learn exactly how to create a YouTube ad. In fact, you're going to learn how to create two types of YouTube ads, and I'll cover that here in a moment. Before we jump into the details, why is YouTube an interesting or worthy advertising platform for you right now? Well, there's a few key reasons. The willingness for advertisers and marketers to jump on Facebook, to put up an image and write out a long copy ad, that willingness is pretty high, right? There's a very low barrier to entry. People can hide behind their computers and run ads all day long. On YouTube, creating video ads, that's pretty difficult. A lot of people are scared of the thought of making a video, and the whole process of producing a video is flat out more difficult. So what it's going to do is it's going to limit the number of your competitors who are actually even showing up, which is great for you. So that means you can get exposure to more people with less competitors, and it probably means you can get a better value when you really dial in this platform. As I mentioned a minute ago, you're going to learn two types of ads. So one of them is promoting your organic videos to gain more views and engagements. I'm calling these boost ads. Now that's just something I made up. That's not a YouTube name. I'm using that through this video training, so you'll know, because I'm going to keep using that boost phrase when I'm talking about this ad type. The other type are conversion ads, and the conversion ads are when you're creating a separate, unique advertisement that's designed to move the viewer into action over to your opt-in page, to your sales page, to your funnel, etc., etc. So you can use you can use YouTube in both ways, which is exactly the same sort of thing you can do on Facebook. There's a prerequisite to this video. The YouTube advertising platform is actually based on the Google Ads platform. So you need to go through the Google Ads platform or the Google Ads video training first. Okay, the link is below this video. And what that will do is make sure that your ad account is set up correctly. And also, if you're doing the conversion ads, the goals within your analytics account is all set up correctly, because that was all done on the Google Ads training that was before this. And without further ado, let's jump in and get you running some YouTube ads. So the first thing you have to do is to link your YouTube and your Google Ad account. And again, you already set up your Google Ad account in the previous one. So we're going to go in and you want to click on the little wrench to get inside of the settings. And then there's the linked account buttons, and that'll bring you into the next screen where you scroll down and simply select YouTube. You click the details, and that brings you to the ability to add your channel. And you go ahead and add the channel, and you simply select your channel when you type it in and search for it there. You can post in the URL of your channel right there. Now, YouTube's going to want to know, are you the owner of this channel? So if you are, and obviously, theoretically, that's where you're headed here, you want to select that I am the owner. And if not, you need to make sure and clarify correctly, because you'll need to get access granted. So if you don't have access to the Gmail account that runs this Google Ad account, which theoretically you do, you have to go through that process of actually gaining the ability to get someone else who does own the channel to give you the rights to advertise for them. This is what you would do if you are an agency. Okay, so once you get it set up, and if it is your own actual account, you want to enter the YouTube field, the YouTube channel name inside of the link name field, and you want to make sure all three of these options are selected. The remarketing, the engagement, right, the view counts. And the reason is you can use these in the future in different ways, and we're also going to be pulling this data inside of your kind of inside of your reports dashboard, so you can go look at those boosted engagements. Because when you want to boost your videos, you're trying to give it a little kickstart in the algorithm, and you want to see if that video indeed got more engagements organically and paid engagements, and this is how we track that. So even if you're not doing remarketing yet, retargeting yet, you want it all set up so when you are ready, you can go and then click link, and that's it. You're up and running at this point, and you should be able to see that you are indeed connected, and these are the permissions that you have at this point in time. And that's it. So now we're ready to get into creating the first ad. And it's really important before you start your first ad to get clear on your specific goal. What are you trying to accomplish? And again, are you just wanting to increase your audience? Are you just wanting to boost your videos out there that you're already putting up that are living live on your channel? And are you trying to just get a little bit more reach so you can brand build, so you can audience build? If so, that's the boost approach. Or are you ready to drive more traffic into your proven funnel? Do you have an opt-in page and a sales page and a funnel that's converting, and you just want to get more targeted people inside of that funnel? Great. That's going to be the conversion type ads. And there's different ways you run these ads. So a boosted ad can be a display ad or a pre-roll. Now, a display ad are the ones that show up on top of the search results. So when you go type in your keyword, there's an ad right up top that shows the video. So when you have your selection of the first page of results and you can choose, the display ad is the one sitting on the very top. It's got the orange box around it that says ad. Pre-roll are the videos that automatically play once the user has clicked on the video. Okay, so those are the ones that play for 5 seconds. You only get charged if someone watches 30 seconds of your video and they get to skip. They get the option to skip your video after 5 seconds when that skip ad button becomes available. So those are the two types. So on the boost, you can run both types, but on the conversion ads, you can only run the pre-roll video style. Okay. Now, let's get into it and get you going. So once you are inside of your ads.google.com platform, you simply click the blue plus button, and this will get you into setting up the new campaign. You just choose the new campaign option. Now from here, if you want to boost your video's performance, you want to choose this last option, the create a campaign without a goals guidance. Okay, if you want to run a conversion-based ad, you want to choose either the sales or the lead option. So I'm going to kind of be bouncing back and forth to show you what steps, because there's only a few things different in setting up these types of campaigns. So we're going to cover this all straight down in this one video here. But for right now, just choose the appropriate goal of the ad based on that little powwow talk we had a moment ago. And then once you choose, it's going to pop up the ad type. And again, since you're in the Google Ads platform, there's a lot of different things, right? They'll let you show up in Google search and display ads and shopping, etc. But you want to choose the video option from here. And then this gets us down into the next step. If you want to be boosting your video, you're going to need to select the custom video campaign. Okay, this is only an option that shows up when you're trying to boost a video. If you chose one of the conversion based approaches, this is automatically locked out, and it tells you essentially that you're going to drive conversions. The option is chosen for you because there's only one of them. So this is only if you're doing the boost video approach. Then once you get in, you want to set up your campaign. Give it a campaign name. I really like putting the actual date in it. It helps me stay organized. And if I have relevance to a specific video or a specific funnel, I include that information in the campaign name, because what's going to happen is after you run a bunch of ads, a bunch of landing pages, a bunch of funnels, a bunch of videos, then you're looking in your reports. It can get a little bit confusing if you don't have a decent naming campaign. So I always put the domain name, because I run ads for several different domains, some sort of a note towards either the funnel or the video that just got launched, and the date that I'm launching it out. And then you get into the budget details, okay? So from here, inside of the budget, you want to switch it over from campaign total to daily. I think it's better to run daily ads. It gives you more flexibility. And then you want to set what your daily budget is, $5 a day, $10 a day. I do think $5 and $10 a day is a great starting place, and I really prefer to start with small budgets and maybe test a bunch of different interests and a bunch of different keywords and a bunch of different creative with 4 or 5 $10 a day ad sets versus going all in on one, spending $50 to $100 a day. It just kind of decreases the chance of Google accidentally spending your money rapidly on things that don't work. Gives you a few more tries, a few more at-bats, if you will, so you can get on base as we're going here. Then you do want to make sure the delivery method is set to standard. You don't want to run accelerated. If you start an accelerated campaign at 7 o'clock at night, it will dust your entire budget by the end of the night, and then it'll probably dust your entire budget before the day begins, right? From the 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. hours, it might use up all of your budget, and you want Google and YouTube to show your ad evenly throughout the day, so people who look at videos in the morning, afternoon, and evening will all have a chance to see your content. And that's what the standard delivery option does for you there. So then really you want to set that average daily spend. That's what we're at on the budget level, okay? And some days Google's going to underspend, but oftentimes they overspend. And don't be concerned if you notice the number fluctuating. If you're like, hey, I put in $10, they spent 12, they spent 14. Google is basing this off of a monthly number. So essentially Google does some mental math for you. Okay, if you're doing 10 bucks a day, it's going to think, cool, I think it's a 28-day cycle, so it's going to look at $280 over the course of the month is actually what your budget is. So some days will be over, some days will be under, but over the course of the month, you should be dialed in right at your exact number for the month. Okay, so be a little flexible in that. Now, if you're boosting the video, meaning you just want to get more exposure to your current videos, you want to set the bidding strategy to maximum CPV, okay? That's cost per view. So what you want to do is you want to be setting the most you're willing to spend for an individual video view. That's your bid. It's an auction. So you're bidding against all of the other advertisers who want access to that target market that you choose later in the video. And so since it's an auction, you're just saying, I'm willing to spend a maximum of this much. Everyone else says what they're willing to spend a maximum of, and obviously the highest bidder wins. Now, below this, you want to be sure you expand the networks, okay? And there's that little drop-down carrot that'll get that to expand for you. And you want to turn off the video partners on the display network. Because what's going to happen is Google's trying to get you to spend your money all across the various platforms, but you really want to make sure that you are only showing up in front of YouTube videos if you're doing pre-roll, or in front of the YouTube search results if you're doing the display ads. And that's how you toggle that. So make sure to turn that off. That's set on by default. If you're running conversion ads, that screen looked a little bit different. Okay, and you want to set the bidding strategy to maximize your conversions. And what this does is it allows the YouTube algorithm and their machine learning to work for you. So because you're going to enter keywords, you're going to enter the topics that you're focusing on later. And what YouTube's going to do with a conversion campaign, since it's tied into your analytics and your goals, YouTube is paying attention to that personality type, that customer avatar, that YouTube viewer avatar that more often than not takes the action you want, right? So if you set it as a lead goal and you set your target as your lead conversion, your OTO page, then Google and YouTube will figure out of all of those millions and millions of users that fit the targeting you put together here in this video, which personality type has the highest likelihood of becoming a lead, and then it goes and finds more people like that for you. It's a very, very similar process to what Facebook advertising does, and that's why you want to set it up as maximize conversions. It limits the options that you have for bidding. Pretty much your only option now is just that daily number that you're willing to spend. But what it does is it is doing all of those kind of cost per view based calculations for you, again, designed to help make sure that you get the absolute highest amount of conversions. And then you just set in your daily budget from there and you move on. Once again, I got to reiterate this. You have to be sure to deselect the video partners, okay? Because what happens is they're trying to spend your money all over the Google display network, and you really want to make sure only people watching YouTube videos are seeing your ads. So make sure that's deselected. Then from here, the next step down on this page is for you to focus in on your locations and also on the languages. So obviously make this work for you, your business, your audience. Where are they? Who spends the most money with you? If you have the ability to look back in your database of customers, see what countries the 80-20 rule is working out on, or if you want to just focus on the big four, generally speaking, the US, Canada, the UK, and Australia are considered the big four. That's the most common places people advertise. And really cool here, if you speak French, if your videos are in French, you can focus on the French-speaking segments of Canada and also France, obviously here, which is a great way for you to focus, and you would really, truly be bypassing a ton of competitors because the number of people in those markets, in those languages that are going to be bidding on these phrases are going to be quite low. So it's a really great way for you to target in, and just make sure you set that all up. And then from here, we get into some of YouTube's targeting specifics. These are all personal preferences here. So if you don't want to show up next to certain types of videos that have sexual content or violence or sensitive social issues, this is where you get the ability to opt out of these. So this is kind of in a grayed out box, and there's a few of these little drop down carrots that you can choose. So for the inventory type, I do recommend that you use the standard, but if you want to appear on all inventory, including all of that sensitive stuff, you would choose the expanded inventory. Personally, I just use the standard inventory type there. And then they have some secondary kind of exclusion options for you if you want to get down even more granular, anything that's talking about tragedy or conflict or sensitive or social issues. So remember that the YouTube algorithm is paying attention to what is your video about, not just your ad, but all of the users, the billions of videos on YouTube. YouTube's auto-transcribing that. It runs it through the Google NLP, which is the natural language processing. So YouTube is trying to understand what is this video about, and then they kind of put them into these categories. And it's like, oh, this is a video about tragedy. This is a video about sensitive social issues. They flag that internally, okay? This is not user-generated data. This is based on YouTube's algorithm, and you can opt out of all of these if you choose, if it's right for your brand, or you can leave them turned on if you choose and if it's right for your brand. Again, this comes back to you, your target audience, your customer avatar, who they are, the types of videos they watch, etc., etc. So they also give you the ability to exclude your videos from specific categories, okay? So this is where you can really kind of like turn off games or you turn on games. So if you're doing gaming-based stuff, it makes sense to be focused on gaming, the gaming niche and the live streamers who are in that world. But if you don't, and that's not relevant, obviously you want that turned off. And then the mature audiences, right? If you want to turn that off, teen or older, the different age ranges, okay? So this allows you to really, again, focus in more and more and more. So I think it's best to be focused on the more mature audiences, the adults, the ones who have jobs and who have credit cards and who have the ability and willingness to buy things and spend money on what you offer. So that's why I do like the kind of focused on the more mature audiences there. Next up, you want to expand the box for the additional settings that is located below this, okay? It's on the bottom left corner, and this additional settings is going to take you into some more conversion options. This is where if you're running a conversion ad, you get to actually choose the goal. And again, the goal was set up in the previous video. This is a Google Analytics goal, and we're porting all of that data straight in through the YouTube advertising platform. Okay, this is the power of YouTube advertising being run on the Google Ads platform. So you choose the selective optimization option, and then what happens is the first bubble is actually selected already. You want to choose the second bubble, the lower one, which is number 1 here on the screen, and you choose the conversion actions for the campaign. And then that pops up the little blue link, number 2, to select the conversion actions. And this is where you actually get to see the list of the goals you have set up inside of analytics. So you simply choose the one that you want to focus on in the left pane, and then it pops up as number 2 in that right hand pane. So when you start that right hand area is empty where number 2 is, and when you choose it, it pops up on the number 2, and then you just click save from there, and at this point you're all set up. Now you have connected this specific ad campaign over to a specific goal, which is essentially what gives YouTube's algorithm and machine learning the data points of who converts for you, so they can find you more conversions at the best price. So now we want to choose the devices. At a minimum, you want to turn off TV screens. The ability for a user to take an action, right? We're direct response marketers. We are compelling individuals to take super specific actions, which is usually click the button, get the free thing, get into the funnel, etc. The ability for that to work based off of the TV itself is extremely low. Another option you can do here if you want is you can actually run one campaign focused on mobile and another campaign focused on tablets, and yet a third one focused on computers, which are desktops and laptops. And what this would do is it would allow you to pin them all against each other to see which one you get the better data from. But if you're running a conversion campaign, the theory here is that their algorithm and their machine learning will do that work for you. So that might be more applicable to the boost methodology, and you might find over running these types of ads with 3, 4, 5 of your videos over time you might find that mobile gets you the highest watch time and engagement, or you might find that mobile gets you the absolute worst watch time and engagement. And maybe tablets or computers are where you get the best kind of organic growth KPIs if you're doing the boost. So you might want to monitor that. But again, if you're doing the conversion-based one, you can kind of let it all just be clumped together, and YouTube will take care of that for you. Then in the next step, this is all optional. This is if you want to set specific frequency limits. Now, frequency limit means that it's only going to show your ad a certain number of times. So the impressions frequency, what that means specifically is how many times they're going to display you above the search results. So that option is pretty much only going to be relevant if you're doing the display ads. And whether they click or not, you're limiting how many times they're going to see it. And the theory is if you've shown your ad to this person 5 times and they have not clicked yet, they're probably not interested. So that's where this example is with a 5 impressions per day. And then obviously on that next day, that user could come back. You might choose to set it at 2. And what that would do is it would give you a broader growth. But if you're creating a super specific and focused target audience with your advertising, you could also choose to have your ad display as an impression more times, and you get additional branding value. It's that idea of they keep seeing you everywhere. Like, man, I just keep seeing this person everywhere, because those impressions are not costing you until they get clicked on. Then on the pre-roll down below the red box, I didn't put this one in a box, it says cap view frequency. Now this is how many times they're actually going to view your ad. So it's not just the impression, this is on the pre-roll, right? So if you're running the pre-roll and it's actually, they're viewing your ad, you can limit how many times they're going to see your ad. That way you don't kind of just annoy people who keep watching the same ad over and over and over, because a lot of users on YouTube do binge watch the videos, and you kind of sometimes don't want it, like it can be negative for your brand if you show up too much with an annoying message that doesn't work. It could have negative repercussions, and that's why these frequency limits are in place here for you. And at this point, we're ready to create an ad group, okay? So the ad group is where you're able to group together one or more ads that are going to share a similar target. And in this example, we're going to use keywords for our targeting, but you can also use topics and placements. Now I'll explain them a little bit, but I prefer keywords because through the keywords that you target, you're able to control the intent. How do I know someone is interested in keyword research? Well, they typed in the words keyword research into the search bar. Okay, so I love that level of specificity. I'm able to show up in front of people searching for me, and it's a way to leapfrog all of your organic competitors and be the one that they find. So this works especially well in boost-based ads. This is exactly what I recommend running in your boost ads, and I recommend you being very, very specific. Again, because it's all about that relevance. Now, if you're running the conversion-based ads, sometimes you want to broaden this a little bit more, and this is where you can go into the topics. When you get into the topics, it's literally just a nested series of topics and subtopics, but you got to keep it hyper relevant to your people. And then the placements, you can actually go take a bunch of YouTube channel URLs and you could say, I want my ads to show up on this channel, and you just place in the actual URL in that. But again, for this, we're just going to go through the keywords. Feel free to play and experiment with those over time, but I think the keyword focused stuff is the low-hanging fruit because of that added relevance. With that said, let's move forward. So you want to add the ad group name. So you're going to make this name based on whether it's a keyword, a grouping of channels, or the topic. You want to make sure that is in the ad group name, because at some point 6 months later, you're going to be looking back and you'll have 30 or 40 of these, and you're going to be like, wait, what was this one? So a good naming convention now goes a long way in the future. So for this ad, again, we're going to focus on the keywords as the goal specifically. So you want to just click the drop down, and you can see below, this is where you've got the topics and the placements as well. And once you click on that, it opens up and you're literally able to just put in the keywords right here. So you put one keyword in per line. You obviously know how to do keyword research already. I would be making sure these keywords are exactly what are coming out of a specific keyword tool. Okay, so if you want to focus on people in SEO, which is the video I've used here, here. SEO for beginners, SEO tutorial for beginners, learn SEO, right? I could go on, SEO class, free SEO class, etc., etc. And then on the right, you have the ability to get the keyword ideas from them as well if you want help doing some research there, but theoretically, you've been through my content on that already. Now, you want to enter the maximum cost per view bid. This is again focused on boost only. If you're running a conversion bid, this just isn't an option for you. And what you're essentially telling YouTube is I'm willing to spend up to this much for a view. And if you're focused on longer tail keyword phrases that have less people bidding on them, you're going to get a much lower cost per view. I've consistently seen 1 to 2 cents cost per views, but I like to start it at 5 cents each, because what happens is it actually gets you more exposure and more momentum in the algorithm, which you need. And I have a few ad sets that have run at 5 cents each, but it's rare that I actually spend all 5 cents each. Okay, so that's just the maximum bid against everyone else there. And again, you're only really getting charged if the viewers watch at least 30 seconds of your video. So out of every time you spend 5 cents, there might be 5, 6, 7 other people who watched part of your video, and you only get charged after that 30-second mark. And now we're ready to create the ad. And in theory, you either have a video that's live on your channel, okay, that's the boost approach. You just published this, and now you want to actually kind of boost that, so the video's already there. Or if you're creating and you just created a YouTube ad that's a video ad that's designed to hook their interest and compel them to take a step in your direction, to go to your opt-in page, to go into your funnel, then that video will be an unlisted video. So you would upload your actual video ad as an unlisted video inside of YouTube, so it's not on your channel, and then you're able to just go grab the URL and bring it in from here. And that's really what we do, okay? So to create the ad, you simply paste in the URL right here, and what happens is it pops up and you choose it. So this is what the screen looks like for the boost ads. Okay, so now here's where you get the option. You can see the blue radio button that's now chosen for video discovery ad. This means I'm going to show up in a search result, which you can see on the right-hand panel. That's what it looks like on mobile. You can toggle it over to desktop if you want. The in-stream ads means I'm actually going to start playing after the user clicks on a video. That's when you're actually interrupting them. They went to go watch video A, but they got to deal with your ad first. That's an in-stream ad. So when you're doing a boost ad, you have the option to choose one or the other. I personally prefer to do the video discoveries here, so I'm able to just sit right on the top. I mean, this is absolutely the shortcut to the top of your best keyword phrases for your videos. Okay, and then you get to select the thumbnail for your video. It's going to automatically pull the one that you have. You now need to enter your headline. You can copy and paste the title if you have it open in another window, or you can come up with something that's a little bit more compelling if you want to draw them in. Avoid using exclamation points and capitalizing entire words. Don't be spammy here. If you try to say the best of the best, right, they might pick up on those kinds of superlatives, and they might block your they might reject your ad, and you'll get a notification if your ad gets rejected. And they're actually pretty good. They're way better than Facebook is at telling you why your ad got rejected. But yeah, if you use a bunch of if you use any exclamation marks, or if you just keep saying we're the best, we're the top, we're the number one, this, that, the other, Google's gonna reject those because they want you to fit in with the search results a little bit better. So it needs to be compelling, yes, but don't go over the top, or else you're gonna have problems getting those ads to stick. So then you enter your description, lines 1 and 2. Again, you want to use compelling content. This only displays on desktop, and follow those same rules. You don't want to use a bunch of exclamation points and all caps stuff here. And then you enter an ad name. When I'm using this boost ad approach, I'm definitely just putting the video name in, so I have a relevance at a glance on that. And you just enter an ad name. If you're doing actual paid ads, you can mention what the content is inside of that ad. They're all paid ads, excuse me. If you're doing a conversion ad and these are all hidden ads, you want to just make sure that you're identifying which ad it is, which ad variation, if you're doing a bunch of ad testing. Okay, so then we've got the description going here. Next, on the conversion ad. So if you're running a conversion-based ad, the screen looks a little bit different. And you notice, first of all, they only have the skippable in-stream ad as the option. That's literally the only option available, so you can't toggle that. But now below, you have additional things that you need to add. So number one is the first URL. Earlier, when you set up the goal of the actual campaign, that's the end mark, okay? So if you're saying my goal is to bring in new customers, the thank you for checking out page is actually the goal that you targeted. This is where you define the first step in your funnel. And the same is true if you did a lead ad, right? If you did a lead ad and you've got an OTO in place, you set up the actual goal as the OTO page because that's the page they see after opting in. So here, this URL is the actual landing page, the opt-in, and the top of your funnel. So I always match the URL itself with the display URL, and then you have your call to action. That's the blue button. Click here does actually fit. They only give you 10 characters, which is super small. And then you have that headline. It's a tiny headline, and 100% free today is what I put in that, but it's 15 characters is all you get there. So really small, and you'll play with that over time, but ultimately you're really just trying to get their hook in with the video itself. Those first 5 seconds of your video ad are so key. You need a pattern interrupt and get them hooked and get them to think they're going to get something of value, something interesting, something unique that they hadn't thought of that's going to help them achieve their goals and live their best life. And that's how you get people to watch your ad videos. It's really a 5 or 6 second window. Think of it as the same kind of but different. It's the headline, right? So the headline on your landing page, the headline on your opt-in page, the headline on your sales page, that's either going to hook them in and get them to read the bullets and read what's below, or it's not. So you need to treat your video ads the exact same way. And then down below the red box, you see where it says Add URL Options Advanced. If you're using UTM characters, this is definitely an advanced area. If you're wanting to add additional parameters into the URL on the click based on what keyword they're coming from, so you can track this all the way back into your goals, into analytics, that's where you would go. You don't need to set that up. I don't run that. I don't set that up at all. But if that's what you do, if you're familiar with that, you're competent in that world, that's where you access that. And then really from here, we just click the save and continue to submit our ad. And that's it. So your ad goes into Google for review. And usually it's fairly quick, but I'll be honest, over the last couple of months, it's been increasing in the amount of time, and it's been taking upwards of 24 hours for the ad to be approved. So if you submit it and the next morning it's still not up yet, that is normal. I think they're maybe doing a little bit more manual checking of the ads as we're entering into the election cycle. Not sure why that's changed recently, but it sure definitely has. And then we get into the reporting part, right? So now we're running traffic, we're paying to get exposure and impressions to our people, and now you need to be able to go in and analyze what happened. Was that worth my advertising dollar? If you're running a conversion ad, am I getting a better cost per conversion on YouTube versus Facebook, for example, is what you're looking at? Or I earn on average $1.30 per subscriber over the course of the first month. How much am I paying per subscriber? And when you know those numbers, if you're paying 75 cents for a subscriber and you know that your average subscriber brings you in $1.30 in the first month, you're net up right there 55 cents per month per subscriber, and you know to go all in. Versus if you're paying $3 per subscriber and your value is $1.50 on the first month, you're net upside down on that. So this is where we get in the reporting, and that's how you know. The default look inside of the actual ad reporting area doesn't have all of the bits and pieces you need. It doesn't have all the columns. So what you want to do is on the left side, you click campaigns. And what that does is it opens up the main kind of view for all of your different campaigns. Okay, this is your main report. Then on the top right, there's the columns tab. You click the columns tab, and then you have the modify columns. Now, real quick, below the arrow in number 3, you see where it says custom, and then it says YouTube, and then it's got the little pencil and the trash. So that's one I set up earlier. So if you set one up and you're looking at it and you're like, man, I don't like the organization of these, or you're like, I want to delete a few rows, you just come right back to the same screen. You click columns up top, and then you click the little pencil, and that'll let you edit it, because you're going to put all of these things in, and then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, there's so much data in here. And over time, you'll find that you're really only looking at 2, 3, or 4 different KPIs, and then you can continue to refine it down over and over and over. It's a little smoother than Facebook. Facebook's, you got to create a whole new one each and every time. All right, so once you are in this area, there's different KPIs for different campaign types. if you're running the boost campaigns, your best KPIs are under the performance tab. So on this left panel here, performance was it was all just the lines, right? It said recommended columns, performance, viewability, conversions, and I just clicked the little line for performance, the little caret, and it opened this up. And what I've chosen is cost, impressions, view rate, views, average cost per view, and the video played for, and it's 25%, 50%, 75, and 100. And it breaks those up into each columns because I want to know when I'm boosting these, which videos that I'm boosting actually get watched 50% of the way, 75% of the way. Because the ones that perform really well, my organic style of videos that I run paid ads to, I keep running paid ads to them because it's just getting me exposure to the right kinds of people. So when you check these boxes, it moves them over into that right column where it says your columns. If you're doing the boost, you also want to set up the YouTube earned actions. So you'll scroll down a little bit and there's the YouTube earned actions. You click on it, it opens up. Check all of them. The one that you might end up unchecking would be earned shares. People just don't use the share button. It's kind of hidden inside of YouTube. So that's one that you might be able to get that off, but this is going to help you understand what is the organic growth based on your paid efforts. Okay. So this means that when let's say you pay to have video A displayed and somebody watches video A and then your video shows up on the right sidebar, or your video pops up in a card, or your video pops up in an end screen, and that user goes on to watch 2 or 3 or 4, and they end up subscribing and they end up liking 2 or 3 of those videos. That's the kind of growth that we want to see in these types of boosted video campaigns, and these are the data points that will help you understand if that's there. So again, you just click on those boxes, the ones you want, and it'll add them to the right. If you're doing conversion campaigns, your most important KPIs are under conversions tab. And if KPIs is a new phrase to you, I don't think I explained that. Key performance indicator. This is how we, analyze our data. This is the main, most important thing. I always look at my cost per lead and cost per new customer is what I'm really after here. So in the conversions, I choose the first 3, which is the conversions, the cost per conversion, and the conversion rate. And this allows me to sort by conversion rate, sort by cost per conversion. So once I've got 7, 8, 9, 10 different ad sets running, I'm able to go in and look, be like, okay, who is bringing me the best value on new conversions? And that's a really, really important data point for me when I'm paying for an ad that has a specific goal of driving leads and driving customers. Okay, so then once you have all of them added, on the right-hand column, you can use the X next to them to remove them. If you see below that column that's shaded, there's the little blue button. If you toggle that off, it'll remove the defaults. If you toggle it on, it'll put in the YouTube defaults. And then where I've got the number 2 arrow, if you click and drag from the 2 lines to the left of any of those columns, you can reorganize it. And this is what I meant when you go back in and edit. You're eventually going to get it to the way you like it, so you can kind of look at it. If you're running both boosted campaigns and conversion campaigns, you might want to set up a separate report for each of them, and then you just toggle between the conversion and then between the boosted based on which ad set you're running. It just makes it a little bit easier to get the data. And then down there on the bottom left by the number 3, you tick the box so you can name it, and you just put in a name that makes sense. So on this one, like MB conversion data, or if you want an MB boosted video, then you save and apply. And then from here, you're done. I mean, you've got all the KPIs at your fingertips at this point. You've now set up your campaign. Your video is out in the wild. And from here, it's just all about really digging in through the data. And this has got everything showing here on it. And the key for you as an advertiser on really any paid ads, but the key for you specifically as an advertiser on YouTube is to go back to where we started when we were making the ad. What was your goal with this ad? And if your goal is on the boost side, you're looking at numbers like how many people watch 25% of my video, how many people watch 50% of my video, and then those engagement-based numbers, okay? Those YouTube organic growth, how many people subscribed, how many people liked. And that's what you're going to base your decision on, whether was it worth it to run paid ads to it or not. That yes or no should come from the data itself. And or once you've run 10 ads and you put $10 in each for 10 different ads, you spend $100, you can then sort by these columns and say, okay, which ones of these videos brought me more subscribers? And then you can either apply more of your advertising budget to that one that worked, or this can seed you for new ideas about videos that people respond well to. Okay, so that's a process. On the conversion side, we're way more focused. If you're running a lead-based campaign, which means you're really trying to grow your email list, you're working on that trust engine, and that's the ultimate goal here. You're looking at your cost per lead, and you need to know on the other side how valuable is a lead for you. I like to use the 30-day mark. What is that value of that lead for you at 30 days? You've got an autoresponder, you've got a broadcast list, you're sending value, and you're sending offers to people. You should know about how much you earn per subscriber per month from your email list. And then you can use that number in here to make good data-driven decisions. And then when you're able to look in and say, okay, I make about $1 per subscriber per month, and I'm spending 82 cents per subscriber per lead, my cost per conversion is 82 cents, your net up 18 cents per lead per month. And that means your money's out on the line for about 30 days, but when it comes right back in, you could dump it into more ads. And as you cycle this up, you will grow a massive email list. And then if you've got a one-time offer in place, if you're tracking all the way down to the sale, if you're going direct to a sales letter or a sales page, obviously you're tracking the cost per new customer acquisition. And if you know you make $47 on a sale, then that's your number. And you know you can spend up to $47, $45, $46 and still be profitable. But really the goal in that kind of a model, if you're going direct to sale, you're just building your customer list. And again, everything comes back to that whole philosophy of the most valuable asset within your digital business online is absolutely, beyond the shadow of a doubt, it's the relationship that you have with your email list. And your email list over time will become a list of prospects and buyers both. And as you're able to grow those effectively, cost break even, right? Like cost effectively, you put in $1 and you get out $1. You put in $1,000 to YouTube ads, you get out $1,000 of YouTube ads. But the byproduct of all that activity is actually a list that grows to 1,000, then to 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 subscribers. That's the real power. Because when you launch a new 6-week program, when you launch a new mastermind program, when you launch a new course, and you have an email list of 100,000 subscribers who know you, like you, and trust you, and you say, hey, I'm running an initial offer for new customers on a new product. I'm going to give it to you for 50% off, but it's only good through Friday. And you'd be amazed when dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of people off of your list buy. Why do they buy? Number one, because they're on your list. Number two, because they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And that's the whole goal of this. The goal is not to be profitable directly in the short term. The goal is to build a massive audience of people who you can build a relationship with over time through email, offer them many, many things in the future, continue to increase your lifetime value per customer. That is what million-dollar businesses do, and that's what you need to do. And now you have everything you need to get this going on YouTube. I thank you very much for your time. If you have questions, obviously you can get at me down below this video in the comments on the video. If you want to start your own thread about your adventure on YouTube advertising, just go back to the top level in here and then start your own thread. Feel free to set that up. And then obviously there's the review section in the forums. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for your time. Go forth, get your messages out in front of your best people. You'll be amazed at what you create. There is a learning curve here, so stick with it and ultimately focus on growing your list and then growing that relationship with your list. You'll be amazed at what you create. Look forward to connecting with you on the next video. Till then, be well.